How's it going, y'all? It's John, Upstate Brush Control. Me and Jody, my wife, driving down the road here, doing a little day trip, and we got talking about, look at this little Beamer, check that thing out. Ooh, fancy snancy. Look at this right here. What is that thing? That is weird. I don't know. Whoa, I was on the road here. Anyways, so we're just talking. I've had several people ask how I got into forestry mulching. I actually tried doing this video in the skid steer and did this whole 20-minute long video, blah blah blah, on how I got started into forestry mulching, and then realized the sound wasn't working. So, anyways, all right. So, I own Upstate Brush Control. I'm an owner-operator. I got started coming up on 5 years ago. And 5 years ago this spring, a friend of mine who lives in Columbia, South Carolina, so about an hour and a half away, I was down there visiting him, and he's a tree guy. He does all tree work. And he climbs, takes down trees, all that kind of thing. And we're down there visiting, and he had a big old F350 gooseneck trailer, and he had a ASV RT 100, or I think it was the RT. He had a 100, an ASV 100 with a Fecon head sitting on the trailer. And I saw that thing, I said, what is that? I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And that was about, 8 years ago. And at the time, I was doing construction with me and my dad. Previously, I owned a fencing business before 2008, when it all kind of, there was nobody really needed a fence. So me and my dad partnered up, and we did construction for about 4 or 5 years. He still does construction, and I went away from that, now doing forestry mulching. But so when I was down there, that was like really my first ever seen a forestry mulcher. Then I got on the old YouTube, started looking up, what is this forestry mulcher and stuff. I started seeing them here and there, and along the highway, and started hearing about them and stuff. And my brother, who owns a paver company, they install interlocking pavers, retaining walls, stuff like that. He was in the market for another tracked skid steer. He has several wheel loaders, which wheel loaders work really good as far as they're always on asphalt, concrete, stuff like that. You just wear out tires, it's no big deal instead of wearing out tracks a lot. But he needed another track skid steer for grading out driveways. So we got talking, and I've been telling about this forestry mulching, how I want to get into it and stuff. So he'd been renting a Caterpillar 257B for a while and stuff, and been thinking about buying another track skid steer. So long story short, we found a T300 with 3,000 hours on it, with a Lofness timber axe for $30,000. And the skid steer was worth, looking back, it wasn't worth hardly anything. It was a piece of junk. But so I bought the cutter head, and he bought the machine. Well, he really bought all of it, but I was paying him back for the cutter head. And then we were gonna work it all out. Anyways, moving on out of that situation, we did so I started, calling up all these contractors and stuff that I knew, and tree companies and stuff, say, hey, I'm getting into this, you got anything? So I picked up a job here or there, and did 2 jobs with it, and we did all right. And then the motor in the T300 had a real bad oil leak. Like, forget this thing. We were always working on it, constantly working on it. The thing was bragged out. So we sold it. And the timber axe, which the Loftus, it was more like a glorified bush hog. It really couldn't handle any size material. Pretty much just soft wood. It was a good design, but it was just too old. We were constantly welding on it, working on it and stuff. I kept breaking it and stuff, so I'm like, forget that. But I had 4 or 5 jobs that I had sold and were, ready to go. So we're like, well, what do we do? So we went to Caterpillar, talked to Caterpillar about a used machine, and so looked at Cat. Really wasn't sold on Caterpillar. Went to Bobcat, and Bobcat, our Caterpillar dealer, didn't even have anything we could rent from them. Excuse me. Mountain Dew burps. Oh man. But sorry. The Caterpillar dealership didn't have anything we could rent, nothing we could try out. So we were like, kind of like, moved away from Cat, went over to Bobcat, talked to them, and they're like, here, rent this, at a Vicon. Well, Vicon and Bobcat Cutterhead are pretty much the same thing, same pump. Their drum is a little bit, Bobcat's drum is a little bit different, but it's a Vicon frame and pump. So, here, try this out. It had carbides on it, so we rented it. I was like, wow, this thing, it was a 770, and like, wow, it worked really good. I did a couple of jobs with it. So in the meantime, I had a couple more jobs coming up. I had a pretty good sized one. It was probably about, I think, 8 acres. It was a big job, but it's a big job for me now. And so at this point in time, we knew that it was best we could rent a machine whenever we wanted. Just go down to Bobcat and rent their forestry machine, as opposed to renting a forestry machine and Cutterhead. So we found a Vicon Cutterhead. It was out of Spokane, Washington. I think I'm saying that right. And so guy gave me a really good deal on it. Brand new Cutterhead. He had it sitting for like a year in his place. So we bought it, had it shipped here, still saved me like $6,000 than I could have bought it buying it locally. So hooked that up to our rental, and that's how we got going. It was like, whenever I need a machine, I went and rented the machine, had my Cutterhead ready to go, and went from there. And then from there, we ended up buying a forestry machine from Bobcat. We put about, I think it was 1,600 hours on that, somewhere around in there. And at that time, Bobcat, it's a great starter machine. If I was in the grading business, push dirt, stuff like that, I'd buy a 770, 650, 770. Those are great machines. Horsepower is great for pushing dirt, not for forestry mulching. So, 770, it overheated pretty much. If it got above 85 degrees, it would overheat. We were having all kinds of cooling issues with it and stuff. I actually blew the turbo in it. I believe it was under warranty. They put a new turbo in it. So we're like, I was making money though. I wasn't making a killing, but the business was making money. So we're like, we got to do something different. So went back to Caterpillar, talked to them about the 299 XHP, and I was that close. We were that close to buying one. It's a $100,000 machine, and we're like, our house didn't even cost that much at the time. It's like, are we really gonna be spending this kind of money on, on this machine like that? Just, we'd have basically about $126,000 invested, and a Cutterhead and a machine kept moving forward with it, you know, one step at a time, you know, like, is this gonna work? You know, it kept getting working. 770 really wasn't doing the job. So the 770 really wasn't doing the job. And the same guy that has the tree business down in Columbia, in the meantime, he had bought a Terex PT110. And he was telling me about this machine. I never even seen a PT110. I'd seen the 100s. We had looked at buying a 100, and you know, we were looking at a new 299, or we looked at a PT100, and we'd heard about the 110s. So I called up the guy down in Columbia. I'm like, hey, I want to see my cutter head, not yours. Like, his is a little bit older. Mine had the variable speed pump. His only had a single speed pump in it. And I want to see my cutter head run on your machine. He's like, yeah, come on down, bring it down. And so loaded it up, went down to Columbia, hooked it up to his machine, and my jaw was just like those things, like, it was just incredible. It blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind. We did an area of, you know, 4 to 6 inch pines, real thick, and, you know, maybe like 50 by 50, and it seemed like we did it in 10 minutes, which would have taken me 2 to 3 times longer in my 770 with the speed, the recovery speed. That was the thing with 770. You get in material, bog down, gotta pull it out, wait for it to spool back up. That 110 horsepower, the Terex, you get into that and it just powered through it. I was just like blown away. So driving home, I'm like, call Jody, I'm like, I know what we're getting, we're buying a 110. And so before we did that, we're like, well, let's try the Caterpillar out. So it was still a toss up between the PT110 and now the 299. I think it's the XHP, whatever, the 299 4 Street one they had. So the salesman down there is like, hey, come and get it. I was like, okay. He's like, come and get it, try it out for 2 days. He's like, don't scratch it up, bring it back clean. I'm like, 10-4. So we went down there and tried it out. It was a good machine. I liked the machine. No complaints about it. But I felt like it wasn't as powerful. It obviously wasn't. It was on 100 horsepower as opposed to 110 horsepower. So I find a Terex dealership. I had them bring a Terex out, and I had that same guy bring a Caterpillar out to my brother's shop, and we went ahead. I used my cutter head, and I ran it on the Terex, and I ran it on the Caterpillar, and I ran each for about 45 minutes to an hour, and we went over through ditches, all kinds of stuff. We put a bucket on, I don't think we put a bucket on it. Just tried different things with it, and the Terex outperformed the Caterpillar, hands down. I remember there was a ditch that kind of went down and then back up like that. The Caterpillar got stuck going up that hill where the back end dragged through the dirt, and then the back of the tracks just, you know, it's just spun in the dirt due to that little swale. It wasn't even that big of a ditch. If I would have went on an angle, I know I could have gotten nothing, but I was just kind of seeing what it would do. The Terex would crawl right up and over it. So that's kind of what sold me different things. We ended up going with the Terex. We bought the Terex 110. We put, I think, right around 3,800 hours. Right around there. We put 3,800 hours on it. I bought a 5,000 hour warranty with it when I bought it. And right around 3,000 hours, we started getting some issues out of it. what had happened, the drive motor on the left side failed, and it literally fell apart on the inside and contaminated the whole hydraulic system. They said there was metal shavings all throughout the hydraulics. It didn't make it in the cutter head, thankfully. But they dropped being under warranty and everything. They dropped the pan on it, or the pans, and emptied the hydraulic oil. So it's just full of metal shavings. And so we were trying to figure out, he's got a 5,000-hour warranty. How much time is it going to be to get this one fixed? We're going to have to rent something. There is a place where I can rent PT110 if I needed to and everything. But by the time we rented, I had been thinking about upgrading to the RT120, and so that kind of made when I found out how long it was going to take. It said it was going to take 40 hours just to clean the oil, just to flush the oil out of the system. And I was like, that's well over a week down. They had it it took 3 weeks to get the thing up and going and right and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, no, been thinking about it. So we got a RT120. Let me back up a little bit. When I had my 770 at the time, I had what I thought was about 6 weeks worth of work. And I was like, oh man, I got so much work, I can hardly keep up with it. I start losing jobs whenever it gets that far out. People are like, oh, I found somebody else to do it, or oh, I hired a guy with a dozer, or oh, I don't like having that much of a backlog. When I bought my PT110, we blew through that 6 weeks of work in about 2 weeks with the Terex. We're just so much more efficient, and as far as getting jobs done, we just, it was night and day difference. I remember I brought the 770 out on a job. We had some kind of issue with the 110, and I was like, we still had it. And I was like, I'll just put the cutter head on this, run it for a little bit. I got on the thing, I was like, this is like molasses. Forget this. I'll wait for my 110 to get fixed. So we went and did hand work for a day, and then got the 110 fixed. I think it was an O-ring or something like that, but wasn't that big a deal. But so back up to the RT120. It is a solid machine. There's a lot of people out there who hate it on the ASV. I really don't know why. I think they're solid machines. It's a great machine. I shouldn't say we detail it, but we keep it very, very clean. We check it for oil leaks, between greasing and all that stuff. We spend a lot of time cleaning the machine, and I don't know why. I mean, I think that's part of it. You keep it clean. Say I'm maintaining it and stuff like that, but a lot of people hate on them. I don't know why. They don't. ASV, it's not like Caterpillar, it's not like Bobcat. So, but I have two dealers. I have one in Charlotte and one in Asheville. Charlotte's about 2.5 hours away. Asheville's about an hour away. So I can go to either one of them if I need something. It's really not that bad. A lot of questions I get about forestry mulching business, is how to get started. I mean, that's kind of how I got started. It's not an easy business at all. It's the amount of money you spend on fuel, teeth, and maintenance is a lot of time, a lot of money. And we have an excavator too that we run alongside the skid steer, which cuts handwork and groundwork in half, or more than that. It used to spend hours dragging out trees and limbs and all that kind of stuff. Just makes life a lot easier. But another thing I was going to say lot of people who see it think like, oh man, like I could just hop in that machine, go and make all kinds of money. It's not an easy business. It's a lot of it's very expensive. It's not like a $30,000 skid steer. It's $130,000 skid steer. You know, it's not like you're out there pushing dirt with it or anything like that. So a lot of people, when I first started, I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna hop in this thing, cruise this thing around all day long, go home, you know, give me a piece of cake, you know. I was like, yeah, wrong. There's a lot of maintenance, you know. You gotta know how to, you know, figure stuff out, you know, as far as mechanic wise, whatever. When I first got started, I relied a lot on the guy who sold it, my dealer, and ooh, look at that one, big Decon, nice one. Sorry, a little distracted there. So when I first got started, I relied a lot on my dealer, and looking back, it was just, you send it to a dealer, it's going to be there 2 days, easily 2 days. There's no turnaround like, oh, we're jumping on it right now. Not going to happen. Like, especially if it's under warranty, because it takes a while for them to get paid. If there's a paying customer going to pay them to fix their machine, cash, car, whatever, they're going to do that job before your machine. That's just how it works. You know, warranty they have to put in, wait for the money, blah, blah, blah. So that's a lower priority thing for them. Anyways, so my machine that I have now, we're right under 1,000 hours, and it has either 1,000 hour or 1 year warranty. I can't remember, but it's over a year old. So, and I'm not really worried about that. If you can fix things yourself, fix hoses, fix O-rings, learn how to pull the tracks off, lift the cab. If you just sit there like, oh, I got an oil leak down here, gotta get it to my dealer. No, you ain't gonna make it. You gotta learn how to fix those things as least downtime as you can in the shop. Even though it has warranty, I try to do as much stuff in-house as I can. It just saves you time, saves you money. You don't have to rent. You might only lose a half a day as opposed to 2 or 3 days waiting for a warranty issue. That's just my 2 cents on warranty stuff. But anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Kind of help anyone who's out there looking to get into Swerve Emulsion. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And hope y'all have a good one. Thanks again.